My name is Ricardo Rodrigues. I'm a mixing engineer and music producer from Portugal. I came here to Sweden to be an intern at Fascination Street Studios and learn from Jens Bogren. And that's how I came across Cold Night for Alligators. It was actually a very interesting and fun experience, even though it was also an intense journey, to get through with the album and make it happen the way it is. As soon as I found out that I was going to work with the guys, I searched for what they had previously released and was so interested about that because it really resonated with me in terms of sound and aesthetic. So I was very excited to get this going, and that also helped make it what it is, in the sense that it was always something that I was very excited to get to work on. And they were very cool guys and very good in response to what was being sent to them. And we had a great communication, so things sort of progressed naturally, even though it was a big endeavor to get through. Well, considering the genre that we're in, it was very much about getting the tones right at first, and then the most part of the mixing process was a lot about the journey that you create throughout the album. There's a lot of texture, there's a lot of different moments and different things happening, and making sure that we ease the listener through this journey was probably the bulk of the mixing process, after getting the tones, the guitars and the bass and the drums happening, and also the vocals obviously. So it was very much playing with the material that I had, which was great to start with, make it sound as best as I could, and then find a way to sort of shape it into something that would be very interesting for someone who's listening, and to sort of see something new happening. And then here comes this great vocal melody, and then here's this little acoustic guitar sort of sound, and then there's like 2 or 3 layers of synths happening that make it all sort of something that's cohesive but still interesting on every second of the album. Well, one of the things that I instantly saw when reviewing what I was gonna be mixing was that every single instrument has a very tight and interesting writing to it. So artistically, I was obviously sort of blown away with how it had a lot of potential. And I could see that every member of the band was doing a very good job at making their instrument interesting in the arrangement. And that was something that definitely got me very hyped. So the highlights would definitely have to be the way that sometimes you would get great groovy sections followed by an awesome vocal line, and have this all wrapped around with some of the tightest and coolest bass playing that I have gotten my hands on, and the same that can be said for the drums. While being very creative, you will find very creative drum playing on the album. You will find some very tight bass lines that will wrap everything together with some very good riffs. And these things all play well with all the layers of synths that you will find, and as well with the vocalist that I found had this very particular and personal sound to him, so he can really do this modern metal thing while being himself and having this very distinct tone, which is something that is not easy to achieve, and they definitely have that. So they took what I could see from their past releases as being the modern tech metal thing, and they sort of elevated it to the point where they printed their personality into it. And I can really see this as the band's album where you can really know who they are and what they do. So the highlights would definitely be, for me, some of the groovy sections and the contrast with the cleaner, very melodic and such, I mean, just awe-inspiring clean sections that are all sort of elevated for me personally by great vocal melodies and vocal lines. Well, personally, my favorite song would have to be Wilderness. It's definitely the song that has sort of a texture that I really enjoy, and how the way that it changes and sort of comes down and then builds up to something, you know, big. And you can't deny that the chorus is very interesting. I think, on the other hand, my favorite song to mix was Nocturnal, and when you listen to the album, I'm sure you will understand why, because it's just all over the place with good stuff, and it's such an epic track. And on the other hand, I think the most popular will probably be Canale, because, you know, that chorus is just, you know. Well, I would say that if you do enjoy this sort of modern metal sound, it's a good starting point for you to like this album. If you enjoy what they did before, then this is a natural evolution to, you know, them getting their own thing and making music that is way more specific to them and way more recognizable. If you dig the prog thing as well, it's sort of an element that is more present on this one than anything that I've heard from them before. So what you have here is a collection of really cool, catchy songs that are very diversified and have, you know, just a lot of interest throughout. There's no fillers in this album, in my opinion, which is great. So you can just listen it from the first to the last track all at once, and it will always be something of interest for you to listen to, even in the interludes. So I believe that it's great for people who are very much into this modern sort of sound. If you know the band, then you're obviously going to check them out, and I'm sure you're going to have your opinion about them will grow. If you haven't checked the band, then yeah, you definitely should. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's good stuff.